Welcome to From a Certain Point Askew, the only Star Wars podcast not to assume a lightsaber's gender. I'm Jason the Ginger Jedi Guy, broadcasting live from inside Wookiee Poo Studios. I'm not alone. Please allow me to introduce your favorite wretched scum, scoundrels, and smugglers. Up first, my neighbor from Corellia, neighbor Cole. Welcome to Wookiee Poo Studios.
Thanks for having me, Jason. Question one. Mm-hmm. Did you run that opening headline down by our third micer or no?
I knew. I run nothing by anybody. Wait till we get to the questions of the week.
I was going to ask you, are you aware that we do have a question of the week this week?
You know what? I learned, and I made sure we were prepared.
We do have several segments on this show. Question of the week being one of them.
Yeah.
You can explain that in further detail later if you know what we're referring to, because we had to clarify earlier.
What exactly is a question?
We'll get to that. We'll get into...
He says in a question.
We'll get into that later on in the show. That's a little teaser, a little tidbit for you to nibble on while we give you the main feast.
All right.
Which is you, me, and our third micer. He comes in hot from the Skype lines or the hyperspace lines.
We pulled him right out of the hyperspace lane.
Tractor beamed him in. Gravity well.
Get over here.
Full steam. Third mic, Darth Matthews. Hey, Matt. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I when that gravity well thing happened, I was like, wait a minute. Is that possible? Can we do that? I don't know if we can do that.
I know.
No, it's good to be here. And I will just get our particulars out of the way really quickly. You can find all of our stuff at FromACertainPointAskew.com. We're on Twitter at FACPAPod. You can email the show. We love when you email the show. Please do that.
Love it.
FACPAPod@gmail.com. Also, we are part of the Podawan Podcast Network, so go check out all those podcasts. It's at Podawans on Twitter. And speaking of those podcasts, thanks again to Ty for coming on our show last week. It was great to have him on, and
it was fun.
Yeah, it's fun time.
Now, when are we going to get the Podawans Network drop?
What do you mean? Oh, like an actual drop that we make for?
Yeah, like we're part of the Podawans Network.
Somebody else needs to make that. I'm terrible at drops, as evidenced by my
Cole, get on
Maul
it.
Bag.
You know, you'll have it by 2024.
Just in time.
I'll get it for you. Just right when the show's shutting down, we'll get it. That and the Mike Laybourne drop from my end of things, from my point of view.
I think you know what? Make that one of your Podtoberfest things. Like have it drop ready, because that's
my
like
to-do
our
list?
one time a year where we just like go all out and shit. So that'll be yeah.
All right.
And we're gonna get to Mike Laybourne. This is a very Mike Laybourne centric episode.
It's the last game of the year. Can't hold anything back. Right?
I got that. Waterboy.
Matt knows.
Quite a bit to go on the show today. First up, the question of the week, or questions of the week, assholes. What is the question of the week, you ask? Well, we're going to show you, we're going to tell you, we're going to give you all the news. And by the way, the news is coming up next after the questions of the week. We've got Book of Boba Fett launch date and some set rumors. Disney Plus series galore. Holy hell. We're going to give you one number, and it rhymes with Stranger Things. Star Wars Rebels Season 2, first half, episodes 1 through 11 we're going to cover. We're going to recap, review, however you want to call it. If it starts with an arrow, that's what we're doing. Maul Bag, 2 emails in the Maul Bag, which is, there's usually 2 in the bag.
I got 2 blasters, one for each of you.
Okay. And then we're going to wrap the show up with a FACPAtoid, and it's very Obi-2 standing by.
Yes, it is.
Little tease there. So first up, we've got our questions of the week. Who wants to read the first one? Zuh.
Question of the week number one, numero uno. Where are Inquisitors 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6? That's a good question. I noticed you picked up on that. Were you reading with subtitles? Were you knocking out the subtitles?
Well, no,
or just pick that up.
I
in the
knew
dialogue?
that was their names, having seen the show before, and reading a little bit, but also I've seen enough to be like, well, I know there's Inquisitors, but as far as that, I haven't gone further than the second season, and actually, some point I don't remember what episode number it was. I've never seen further than.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know if more Inquisitors show up or not. But so I guess this is an honest question, but it's also just me being sarcastic. So
they were calling each other fifth brother and like seventh
sister,
right?
Yeah.
Was that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a Palps program called the Inquisitorius. That's I'm going to put my nerd hat on here for a second. And I don't know a ton about it, so Brian Auer, let us know. But it's basically dark side users that he created this club for. It's like an after-school program.
Okay.
And they are activities to go out and hunt Jedi.
They're like after work they're part like the Fred Flintstone's Water Buffalo Club. Remember that? They put on those big furry hats with horns. They just go fucking drink at the bar.
You think they're running MS-DOS or Linux on that?
I'm going to go with Linux.
Okay.
Yeah. They're open source all the way. Another one of the questions is, why doesn't even one fucking house on one fucking planet in either the core worlds or the outer rim in a futuristic galaxy far, far away have even one picture frame, digital or actual photo in or on paper? Like, this was a question I asked Cole like a week ago.
The home decor is really lacking. And it's a lot of like plaster that you would see out in Phoenix, Arizona area, like stucco, right?
Yes.
That's what I would call that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or it looks like a lot of staged houses. So like you said, nothing personal. It's like when you're trying to sell your house and you stage it with just very generic stuff that doesn't apply any like sort of feelings to who has lived here or does live here.
The Bloom houses.
Right, exactly.
Arrested Development.
Interestingly enough, I sold my house with a life-size picture of me with no shirt on.
Oh, wow.
One of those fat head posters on the wall. People said, I got to live here where that guy was living.
Did they ask to keep it or no?
It came with. There was no negotiation on that.
I want that frame.
They couldn't get it off to the wall. It was plastered there.
I think don't we see a picture of Ezra's parents somewhere at some point?
It's a hologram that keeps floating up. Whenever you're sitting down somewhere, I'll pop up that very like it looks very comic book drawn artistic rendering of like his parents or whatever, very colorful, but it's a hologram. And that's the thing is like, okay, so we know there's holograms, so why don't they just have like little like Amazon pucks, those little
echo dots,
and just like all around the house, and then holograms are up, and then like they change or whatever, or like not Steve Jobs, but the other guy, what's his name, the guy that runs Microsoft,
Bill Gates?
Gates. The rooms in his house, have you ever heard like the paintings or the pictures on the walls when they're whoever walks into the room, they'll change
and their eyes follow you?
It's very Scooby-Doo like.
That's fucking, I don't think I knew that part. That's freaky.
There was the movie Antitrust. It was Ryan Felipe.
Yes.
It was a shitty movie,
that
right?
was supposed to take place in Portland, and it was Tim Robbins was the Bill Gates guy.
Yes, and that was one of the things that they did that because that was one of the giveaways was when Tim Robbins comes into his house, he notices the pictures have changed in his room or something.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So he's like, oh, someone's there. So but like, come on, this is like they can fly through space, they can go anywhere, they got hyperspace lanes, whatever, and not one fucking memory of anybody in their house.
Nor a selfie in sight. I mean, how is Anakin not taking a shot with Padme everywhere? I mean, that guy crushes all over her in Clone Wars. He should have been doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're just anti-technology. Maybe they're like they watched enough Black Mirror that they're getting away from personal devices.
Okay,
and it's more.
That's why they're always trying to leave a planet.
Conversation
they
pieces.
Don't give a shit about their families.
They got the central game of whatever it is, where you get the monsters that kill each other and have like a rudimentary chess.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of family issues in Star Wars, one way or the other. Either they've already been left behind, or there's struggle within the family.
Oh well, of course. Like it's first of all, it's all about family, and two, it's just tragedy everywhere. I mean, that's what drives the entire show. It's very rarely are we really happy in Star Wars.
Yeah, say that to the fans who loved the sequels. I got a couple more if you guys want to keep going, but I was just fucking around with these. I said, if Mike Laybourne finally acquired the Darksaber, and we certainly hope that he does, what would be his first order of business? What would it take to get Royal Farm Boy off planet, and how do we make him a shirtless Kylo to Laybourne's Mary Sue Walker?
Jesus, where do you come up with these? I don't know what he would do with the Darksaber, but my first order of business, if it was me and I was Mike Laybourne, would be to commit ritual seppuku with it.
If you were Mike Laybourne. Okay.
First order of business, kill myself before neighbor Cole, Matt, and Jay have me torn apart by Blurg.
And that's why there wasn't a 10th episode of Visions. There was going to be. We were writing one, and Disney fucking put the kibosh on that.
Yeah, it's going to be released in the it's the what is it they call it when they're at the end of the movie? This after credit scene.
Yeah.
After credits.
The end credit sequence.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Well, it's basically what at one point, which we're going to get to in a minute, Vader kind of does that to Ezra. He almost does like the older brother, stop hitting yourself thing with his own saber. He's like trying to kill himself with his own saber. So that's what you want to do with Mike. I understand.
Who doesn't though?
Yeah, he plays both those fools up. Yeah, that's going to be a good conversation when we talk about Rebels. Okay, one more. This is my real one. Okay. If the plot of Kenobi is in fact Vader and the Inquisitors hunting down Force-sensitive children, what do you think will be the spark that sends Kenobi off Tatooine, leaving young Luke exposed?
Exposed himself at the Awanas Club. Wayner's on the glass at the Iguanas.
Whiners?
On the glass at the Iguanas?
Is this another water boy?
This is
Nope.
Varsity Blues.
See, look,
Oh,
Matt,
wow.
Matt gets me.
Wait, okay, go
You
back.
used to get me.
I know.
You know what?
I know.
And
And I
now-
love Varsity Blues.
My kid's too much trouble for you? Nah, coach, they just kids.
Boys being boys, coach.
We could do this all night. That's a good question. I'd imagine he's going to leave more than once. I mean, I think he's
Like every episode of Kenobi ends with him going back home. He's like, "Fuck, I gotta leave again."
Luke,
It's
you
either
good?
gonna be a droid comes and gives him a hologram. Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. Or there's gonna be.
Oh, that would piss me off.
I feel a disturbance in the Force. Something's going on.
If fucking R2 and C-3PO crash land in a fucking pod and make their way, and this hasn't happened before yet,
Yeah.
and we're like, oh, come on.
What if it's just episode 4 replayed again, like they did for 7?
But Kenobi's the Luke Skywalker in this story.
Yep. He goes and destroys the Death Star at the end of it. Like,
No, it's a different
God.
kid. It's a different kid. And each time he tells them they're the chosen one. Like, no, you're the guy. Oh, died.
Oh my God.
what's the
Just
under
keeps
over on
resetting.
Obi-Wan?
It's you know what it is? It's like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That like the movie where he's always protecting the new Slayer, and then they just keep dying. I don't know if you remember
I was
that.
gonna say it's like Batman and Robin. He just keeps racing this kid, and every time one's murdered or goes off and does something else, he
start
just
over.
picks another fucking ward to go and run the galaxy with.
Most dangerous job on the
You're
planet.
the chosen one. I was kidnapped.
Maybe it's you, Obi-Wan. Maybe you're the one turning people to the dark side with your terrible dad jokes.
And when I say chosen one, I mean like chosen 7th. You weren't the first, but no worries.
There's as many Padawans for Obi-Wan as there were Inquisitors before the 5th brother.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
No, does anyone have like an idea though? Like, well, what do you think the setup's going to be? Like, how does Kenobi get word on Tatooine? The Inquisitors does one show up? My guess is one doesn't show up for Luke. Like I'm thinking he finds out Leia was hunted, and he's like, well, if one's going to go after her, though they're bound to come here. I know he's safe. Let me get off planet and find out what's going on.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I mean, because he's going to be, we feel like he's going to talk to Qui-Gon, but I don't know that Qui-Gon's going to be up on the news. So it may be more of a personal, kind of prayer meditation relationship or something. But yeah, I could see the Leia thing because she's famous family and out there. Like it would be pretty easy. Again, the joke being, why did you let the kid's last name remain Skywalker? It's pretty fucking easy to hunt that down.
Yeah, right.
There's probably not a white pages in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good theory though with the Leia thing, because they did talk about how a young girl had been cast, so they thought that might come into play.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's just like like Vader just never looked it up, like never Google searched Skywalker, and then he just fuck, why
slapping
didn't I think
himself.
of that? He slaps him on the top of the head.
Well, I mean, he's not really looking for his children because he was led to believe they died, right?
True.
So that's the thing. And Tatooine is, some planet, it's supposed to be some bumfuck planet that's nowhere that no one ever goes to. But as we see, everyone's been there at least once.
When does he discover what episode or which one is it? Was it 4 that he discovered that Luke was alive? Doesn't he have a conversation with the Emperor? He's kneeling. I was under the impression that they were dead, or the son of Skywalker was dead, or something. How does that go?
I think it's Empire.
I think it is Empire because we don't see much of Palps in the first one at all, right? Now I'm
Yeah,
forgetting.
and then
I need to watch
he-
the damn trilogy again.
Right.
Well, he's kind of like, what does he say? Well, there you go. Email the show and let us know where we missed. What did we miss? But
Trust me, we're getting emails already.
I think the conversation was, it was just very nonchalant. He's like, oh, well, I guess he is alive. If he could be turned, he would be a powerful ally, right? Like, that's what happens.
Right now, it's the first time ever a rural farm boy has paused a podcast and he's fucking like, his colonial rifle. He's shoving his fucking arm
Musket?
up. Yeah.
No, he's got his old school typewriter out. He's going to type in his letter.
Feverishly writing.
But do you think Darth, when he finds out about Luke, and then in Jedi he finds out about Leia, do you think he goes, "Are there more? I mean, fuck! I thought I had none. Now I think I find out I have 2. How many kids did Padme have?"
And did he take another lover after Padme?
Oh my God! Wonder if they go like the twins route.
There's
like,
a question of the week for you.
Did Anakin take another
Why didn't
lover?
you think of that?
Oh well,
Darth
hold on to
Vader.
it till next year. Oh, like Vader every once in a while just pull out Robo Dick and just
Concubine?
slay an ass like on every planet.
Does he have a concubine or a mistress, perhaps?
Oof. I don't know what you could do with that body, but I mean, enough money, enough credits.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he's got a robo fucking.
Yeah, like Go Gadget Darth Dick.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like a saber. You can turn it up or turn it down. You can make it longer. Or shorter.
Give it, yes.
The Twi'lek, they like them big.
Oh,
Is everybody glad they came for questions of the week?
I know.
We're gonna have to recycle a couple of these.
I mean, if you guys want me to keep writing these every week, I'm on board.
Do it. I'm up.
I
for
wrote
that.
4 of them.
Those are good.
please do. We'll switch roles. You do the question of the week. I'll get the FACPAtoid.
All right, fair enough.
right.
All right, news.
Yeah, so news, just a couple items here. One was obviously the Book of Boba launch date was announced. There was a tweet, there was a poster. It says December 29th, which is a Wednesday. Uh-oh, are we going to be releasing every Wednesday? And is that going to change our release schedule for our show?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, might have to consider that. But the official StarWars.com post about this is there's a blurb, which is nothing new here, but it's
A blurg.
a blurg. And the blurg says, I'm not going to do a blurg voice, 'cause I don't even know how you would do that. The Book of Boba Fett, a thrilling Star Wars adventure, finds legendary bounty hunter Boba Fett and Fennec Shan navigating the galaxy's underworld, when they return to the sands of Tatooine to stake their claim on the territory once ruled by Jabba the Hutt and his crime syndicate. So nothing new there,
Nothing new.
but it's interesting that they're starting at the very end of the year. I was kind of hoping it was going to be a couple weeks before, and it makes you think, so how many episodes are we going to get? I know we talked about it's at least 6, it could be 8.
Right.
But if they're starting at that late, and then we got Andor maybe coming right after that, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Right, because that's 12 episodes, right?
Yeah.
And then I was reading today. It's highly speculated from a very likely source that is in the know. That probably has at least 2 good sources that it is looking like Kenobi is launching in May. And if it's going to be May, it's going to be May the 4th be with you.
You would think so. Yeah. So that's maybe the Boba Fett series is shorter than we think. I don't know. I was hoping for 8, but we'll see.
Oh, that'd be great. Well, how many episodes has Mandalorian been?
10 each time, right? Oh, 8 each time.
8, I think it's 8.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
8 each
Yes,
time.
I don't see why the Book of Boba Fett would be any less than that.
Yeah, I don't either. Couple other things really quickly. It's just that there were some recent reports and rumors about some spoilers. So if you do not like spoilers and you do not want to be ruined by spoilers, I've been putting timestamps on our episode so you can fast forward to the next item, which is about future series. One,
We used to do that.
I'm trying to save
Yeah.
people in case they care.
Okay.
One is there was a reference about people thinking that a Sarlacc pit had been built, which would not be a surprise to us because we kind of expect that story will be part of this series. And the other one was somebody was speculating just today, I think it came through StarWarsNews.net or not StarWarsNewsNet.com, about a Rancor and him doing shit with a
Right.
Rancor. Like dirty shit.
The Rancor's got like a chest plate on and a harness, and he's like riding it like it's some kind of weird circus animal.
Butthole
Yes.
pleasures with the Rancor.
That's the only reason. Like Jabba was out spreading rumors about him. That's why he fucking went in there and shot everyone. I told you not to know my secrets.
You know he's in there. You know he's fucking playing around with that
It's like,
Rancor down
you
there.
want me to open the trap door again, don't you, Boba? Just give me 10 minutes down there.
Bring me back.
Rancor is wearing Boba Fett like a tampon.
Oh. Yeah, it's certainly kind of leads you to believe it's definitely that adventure of the week type thing. It's a lot of isolated stories that's going to be different each episode. So I'm sure there will be, something at the beginning and at the end that ties it all together, but I think there's going to be a lot of one-offs.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway,
Couple more weeks.
Yep. We talked about the 2022 speculative release schedule for all the series, but there was an article that came out just after we recorded that was in the Hollywood Reporter. Great toilet reading, I hear. And it includes the following quote: "The Book of Boba Fett will be the second live-action Star Wars series to debut on Disney+. The streamer also has a limited series centered on Obi-Wan Kenobi in the works, along with 2 other Mandalorian spin-offs, Ahsoka and Rangers of the New Republic. All told, Disney plans to air 11 Star Wars series in the next several years." So let's get out our calculators and our piece of paper and let's figure this out.
I think there's 7 or 8 that have been talked about.
Well, so Mandalorian, Bad Batch, Book of Boba, Andor, Kenobi, Ahsoka. Those are all set. We've already seen, or they're definitely confirmed on. That's
Well, the
6.
Acolyte has a writer's room and they're working on it.
True, that's 7. Lando is supposed to be 100% go.
It was
that's
announced.
8.
Yep, 8.
Rangers of the New Republic's not in active production, but who knows if that comes back around? Not sure.
Mhm.
That would be 9. So what's left? Are they counting Visions? Are they? You know what I mean?
No,
Did you
I
say
don't
Rogue
think so.
Squadron?
No,
That's a
film.
movie.
This is just
series.
Try
Yeah.
to keep up.
So it leaves with two more that we're not sure about. I mean, I don't think that they're counting Visions in that, but I'm not
No, I don't
sure.
think so either. So I'll say there's got to be at least one more series, and another. I think an animated series.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that.
Yeah.
Well, they've got I don't know. Based on this graphic from that document you were reading, there's Children of the Blood and Bone. That must not be a Star Wars one because it's got Willow on here and Indiana Jones.
Children of the
well.
Blood and Bone is it was a book. Is that the one? It was like they bought the rights from these kids who wrote a comic book series or something. I think that's the one. They showed stuff during their big when they told everything like a year ago or so. And it was those are the three big ones. There's Star Wars stuff. Well, there are four. There's Star Wars stuff Lucasfilm was working on, Indiana Jones, the Children of Blood and Bone, and then the fourth was Willow.
Yeah, I think those were also Lucasfilm, like other Lucasfilm products, not just Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are we ready to get into Rebels?
Oh my God! Let's go back to Lothal.
Back to Lothal.
Just like Tatooine.
Yep.
You know, they certainly tried to set everything up in season 1 and then just exploded all over our faces in season 2 because you come out strong with Darth Vader. They're obviously giving us Rex and Gregor and Wolf. They're getting us Ahsoka. They're giving us and then more that I haven't got to yet. You guys have already got to yet. There's more characters that are coming. And then it ends with a huge big bang. Like, this is a monster season. So as much as I enjoyed season 1 as the setup, season 2 just fucking just launches everything.
It's very similar in the way they did Mandalorian. A lot of setup for season 1, season 2. It's like, oh, look at all of this shit's happening, and this is the same way, and it moves a lot faster too. Like there's always just like the episode opens up and we're like, oh, this is what we're doing, and even like the filler episodes carried a lot more weight.
They're a little more tied to the overall story for the most part. There's one or two that are kind of, but for the most part, it all ties pretty well to the overall story, advancing the overall story.
You get a lot of behind the scenes with the Empire as well, I think. Like, you get a little bit more in-depth of a look at how much they struggled trying to figure out what the rebels were doing.
Right.
You get to see a lot of the development of the rebellion, going from like the ragtag group of solo acts, like terrorist cells, if you will, and then they start coming into one more united front, which eventually becomes the rebellion under Commander Sato. And then there's that little dynamic at the beginning of the season. Well, we used to be off on our own. We were doing our own thing.
Yeah.
And now we're part of this bigger cause, and I don't like that.
Yeah, Kanan's pretty pouty for the first couple episodes.
He got a little resting bitch face halfway through this season.
He does. Yeah, so, I mean, when we wrapped up season 1, it ended, with them getting Kanan out, killing the Grand Inquisitor, and meeting Ahsoka, and kind of getting more of a taste of what the rebellion was. So it just picks right back up into that with season 2. This first, 2 episodes, really, they're kind of tied together. The Siege of Lothal. The Ghost crew's on a mission with Commander Sato, who we see a lot of in this season.
We do, yeah.
And Phoenix Squadron. And they're attacking an Imperial cargo ship. They're able to get away with that. But back on Lothal is where it really kicks in, because that's where that Minister Tua is being pressed by Callus to do better with the rebels. And here comes Vader.
Yep, Vader's on the scene, amping up the pressure, throwing the brutal tactics out there to squeeze the people.
Yeah.
Give up their rebellion.
Very much like Tarkin in the first season. You know what? Just lure them in and kill them all.
And she seems to be the one with a conscience. Minister Tua, she's a little bit hesitant, like, oh, I don't know. Well, I don't think that's very ethical.
Yeah, every time a character in Star Wars on the other side gets a conscience, an explosion or something is happening in their soon, their life within a day or two.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the rebels get that transmission from our boy, old Joe, the Ithorian.
Mm-hmm.
Did I tell you who voiced him last year? I can't remember if I told you that. D. Bradley Baker, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Always guess D. Bradley Baker. It's like when you play 80s Trivial Pursuit. Ronald Reagan is the answer to like 92% of it.
Okay.
Or Michael Jackson for the entertainment category.
Yeah, exactly. But he's back on Lothal, and he has Minister Tua on the line, and she's basically offering to give up Imperial information in exchange for helping to get off-world. And she says, I'm going to provide a list of rebel sympathizers to you, and also I'll tell you about why the Empire really isn't on Lothal, because it's not just them there to like strip all the planet's resources.
Right, and so Callus immediately kind of suspects something is amiss. You can kind of see it in his face, and she's going he suspects she's going to go turncoat, and she confirms our suspicions, and she goes turncoat, and is like...
Kanan goes, bitch, well, how are you going to trust her?
Right.
Yeah.
It's a trap immediately. They all think of that. So they go in to rescue Minister Tua, and lo and behold,
Kablooey.
It is a trap. Her shuttle explodes.
Total trap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Vader and Callus are just lying in the fucking shadows, lying in wait.
I do find it funny, like they're aware of like these a larger like separatist movement that's happening, but for some reason they really want these 5 fucking rebels.
Well, they're causing them all sorts of trouble.
Right. On Lothal, it was a big trouble, but now, like, you know, anytime something happens in the galaxy, oh, there's Jabba the Kid over there. We know it's you.
Well, and I think a lot of it has to do with the whole Jedi thing. It's
Yeah.
like any sniff of a Jedi or Force powers, and they're like, we got to snuff that shit out right now. That seems to be the way they're operating, I guess.
Yes. Well, I mean, we're going to get to that pretty soon. It's exactly right.
Yeah, and then the troopers find Ezra's folks' house and just burn it to the ground, apparently.
Yep.
Well, oh no, sorry. Before that happens later. They actually are inside. The troopers come up and are trying to get in. They've locked themselves in, and they find them. And then the trooper says something like, open up in there. And I'm pretty sure, and I have a bunch of these notes because I kept hearing like Chopper quotes like in real life. I think he says, you can suck it. I'm pretty sure he turns and goes, you can suck it.
Ever since we had the conversation about like the shit he says and everything, there's times where if you're listening, you can almost make out words. It's like baby talk that might mean something. You're like, wait a minute, did he just say that? Yeah.
I made notes throughout. There's a bunch of them where it's, and of course they're all very sweary. But
there's one of them that I swear to God, he says, we got to get the fuck out of here.
They're like all the hidden. They're like all the hidden penises on the original cover of the Little Mermaid.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so they are able to escape, and then Kanan suggests they go to the Imperial complex because that's like the only place they wouldn't be looking for him, and try to steal a shuttle. And so they do the whole mind trick and walk in as a cadet and a disguised trooper.
Right.
And then they also, I guess they were able to steal some shield generators, which they need, and that's when Kanan and Ezra sense Vader, who shows up, and that's where the episode ends, where it's like, oh fuck, he's here.
It's so funny. Like as soon as they mention something about some sort of supply or some sort of need in the galaxy, you know exactly what the episode's going to be. So like in the beginning of the episode, you're like, you know, we really could use some shield generators, and then lo and behold, there's shield generators.
You know, a ton of them
lying around.
My favorite thing is every fucking person in the crew, I think even Chopper, is pushing shield generators, but Kanan's like, he's looking around, and then he sees them all go past him. It was like a Scooby-Doo scene, and he's just like, okay, and then he goes. I'm like, fucking grab one too, dude.
Well, the Scooby-Doo thing makes sense because Freddie Prinze Jr. also played Fred.
Yeah.
Who plays Freddie Prinze Jr. in the show?
Freddie Prinze Jr. is Kanan.
Oh, okay.
And then he also plays
know that?
Fred in Scooby-Doo live action thing they did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fun tie-in.
Color me informed.
Welcome to season 2.
Thank you. Well, I keep getting these fucking names. Guess who played this? And I start tuning them out after a while.
Wait till you see when Luke Skywalker shows up.
Okay.
Okay.
But we get a taste of Darth as the second episode opens up. We get a taste of Darth just fucking full powers, just kicking the shit out of Kanan, kicking the shit out of Ezra. Like I said, he was doing. He almost caps Ezra by with his own saber.
Like even the two of them don't stand a chance against Vader. And this is like Vader isn't even like. Well, I mean, I guess he's
pretty close to full power at this point.
Okay.
I think
You think so?
I think so.
So he's doing the stop hitting yourself to Ezra with the fucking lightsaber, right? Like he's going to his own throat, and then somehow they drop like 2 walkers on top of him.
Sabine
shoots 2 walkers down, and they like fall on Vader, and Vader, like you see him as they're falling, he's like, nah, fuck this walker. Like puts his hand up. He's going to push it out of the way. She gets a little taste of him too. She fires 2 blaster shots at him, and he deflects them both at one of them, hits her right in the fucking eyes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and her helmet.
She's like, oh.
Yeah.
She's like, Sabine, you're fucking with the wrong motherfucker.
Now how come she doesn't have a dent like Boba Fett's helmet?
I don't know.
She should have one like just like a third eye right there.
What do they call that? Carbon. She should have carbon scoring.
Yes, exactly.
For a unibrow at this point.
Well, because is it coming up? There's it's this fight where Vader slices Kanan's like shoulder shield.
Yes.
And if you watch the rest of the season, he's got the score marks.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a nice attention to detail on you and their part.
Right. And I don't pick up on anything. What's my name?
So early on in the season, neighbor Cole. I don't know. Early on in the season, it seems like the real theme is Vader being one step ahead of the rebels, and they need to like adapt to that.
Right.
Like I know, you know, we know. Mm-hmm. So what are we gonna? So he goes ahead and orders, like he knows their weakness is compassion and the people. So what does he do? He orders Tarkin Town burned. to exploit the rebellion's compassion, right, as their weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the rebels, as they're leaving the system, have to turn to.
Do you think like shouldn't he have like some? Did he do that because it's the same thing that happened to his mom's town?
Aunt Beru?
Well, they burned down Beru too, but like, remember
That's
when
later.
he fucking takes the speeder all the way home and finds everyone burnt?
I can't ever remember if I thought it was Veru or
Veru.
You thought it was Veru, and it's Beru.
Yeah, I always try to do the wrong one intentionally, but I always end up saying the right one because you guys corrected me. You got it in my head now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. It could be. I mean, he's so fucked in the head. He's probably replaying a lot of memories and just applying it to his strategy. You might be right there. But yeah, they have to turn to. You were just about to say, Cole, to get off world.
Orlando Calrissian,
right?
Who, note to self and to the Mandalorian, knows how to negotiate with these rebels because he's like, she's like, we got some shield generators for sale. Help us get off system. And he's like, we can give you. She's like, we can give you 2. He's like, well, if you got 2, that means you got 6. So I'll take 3.
Yeah.
Take note, Din. This is how it's done right here.
He's a gambler. He can read people.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Maybe in season 3, Dan will find like Lando's book of tactics,
Little black
negotiation tactics. You know, it's like, oh, this is gonna work.
The art of the Lando deal.
Yeah. The art of Star Wars. The art of war.
I'll tell you this though, when he says to them, "I'm not on planet, but my droid will set you up." There was a small part of me that was like, "Is this going to be L3?" And then I realized that L3 was already gone.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
The timing didn't line
But
up.
I did the
was like,
same
"That's too
thing
bad."
at first. Yep.
Yeah.
Not me. My timelines were right on point. I didn't even register.
You didn't even bother to speculate. Nope. You knew where you were at.
Blew right past it.
And again, the droid sounds like a fine Southern gentleman. Like what?
Yeah.
How's that an accent for a droid? That makes no sense.
That droid was straight from fucking Fort Axis.
Had a few smidges of honeycomb in his system.
They use the transponders to like basically make it confusing for the Empire trying to track them so they can get off world. And this is where they have another conversation where it's like, what are we going to do? Like, are we going to join the rebellion? Are we going to lay low? And interestingly enough, Sabine's with Kanan. She's like, I think we need to lay low. And Hera's basically like, I don't think anybody understands. I'm the captain now. Like, I'm the one who's running the ship. So you can all weigh in with your opinions, but I'm pretty much making the call at the end of the day.
Yeah, so they kind of have like a little team meeting, right? Like, is it time to join with the rebels, or is it solo operations? And the transponder trick was kind of reminiscent to me of Under Siege, when Tommy Lee Jones has got like, he's making the phone call in, and they're like, oh, he's broadcasting from Afghanistan. No, hang on, he's in Beijing, China.
Oh, they're rerouting they're hacking the satellites.
Yeah, he's like, having fun with your transponder. Oh, yeah, whatever. Sorry. I don't know why I think of stuff
but then
like that.
I like, by the way, the fact that Darth just goes fucking balls out at the fleet by himself and just starts killing everybody. I mean, that motherfucker was on point this episode.
Did he have like a 2.0 TIE fighter? Like, what the fuck? He came in and just like 8 members of Phoenix Squad come out to defend the fleet, and he's just like, meh.
There were 2 left, I think, when he was done.
Yeah, he was waylaying.
He just rolls up by himself. He's like, I'll wait for the big starships to show up. I'm fucking meaning business here.
Well, then he does that sick move where he does the reversal and it's falling backwards shooting. I'm like, I don't know if the physics pan out on that, but that's a pretty dope move there.
Well, I mean, if you're going to argue physics, then explosions and ships falling through the galaxy.
Yeah, move on from that.
Well, he ends up getting the old tractor beam applied to him because Hera kind of shoots the gap on him. She goes out there to take him down, and he's besting her, and she's supposed to be like, you know, if it wasn't for Ahsoka reaching out and touching him with her feelings. And then he's like, oh, the apprentice lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's flying mid-cockpit. And
I think that was more, I don't think she was reaching out. I think he felt her. And then
she was
like,
on
oh,
him.
wait, what is this? Yeah. And then she couldn't handle it. She's like, oh, this is some strong shit right here.
So the Emperor shows up, and I think it's like a hologram. Oh, he communes with the Emperor. He kicks the whole entire, like, the command ship.
I need this FaceTime portal.
Guys, you care if
Give
I
me
take
the
the
room.
room for a minute? Can I have the floor for a second, fellas?
He was very kind about it.
Kicks out all the IT nerds, and they leave. And
he gives them all like fucking 7 Empire credits. Let's go to the commissary.
Like there's kids.
I gotta call my dad.
Go buy some candy.
Yeah.
Why don't you go get a cup of coffee? And they're like, no, we're good. Why don't you leave the room so we can talk about you, please?
Well, then he goes all third person. He's like the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker lives. Dude, he knows who you are. We know who you are. You know who you are. Come on.
I told you never to say that name in my presence. Like he scolds him.
Well, I think the idea though is like that Anakin is dead.
Is dead, right?
Yeah.
And so their thought process, Emperor, like is like, Ahsoka survived. Ahsoka could lead you to Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And they dispatch an Inquisitor. Inquisitor 7th brother is on his way.
But doesn't he,
him.
the 5th brother, doesn't he say something about you're needed somewhere else, send an Inquisitor? So like right when Vader's like, hey, I got all this fucking information, like shit's going down. He's like, you know what? We're up to something else. Send one of the lower tier force sensitive bad guys.
I got another project I need you to work on,
Yeah,
so it's okay. Send somebody else.
Yeah, we got that. The West Wing on Mustafar is not done yet. We need you to go home.
Well, and it's interesting because I think later in the series, Ian McDiarmid does Palpatine, but at this point, it's Sam Witwer. It's the fucking guy who does Maul.
Okay.
Which I thought was interesting. He does it really well.
Because originally, wasn't Tim Curry doing the voice of the Emperor?
I think he did it very early, right? Very early in the Clone Wars series. Is that what it was?
That's what it was. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then it switched, and then to Ian McDiarmid. I can't remember the order.
I know when he had the stroke, it switches, and he had the stroke sometime around. It was during Rebels.
Was it?
Well, it was. I mean, it was only like 10 years ago, so it had to be Rebels.
I don't know. Timelines.
Right.
I'll get on it, guys. I'll hunt it down
Clone Wars
for
is
you.
still going on 10 years ago. Rebels was like 15,
right.
14, something like that.
Yeah, I saw 13? A thing the other day. It said the Clone Wars is, let's say it was 12 or 14 years old. And I was like, oh my God.
I think it started in 08.
Rebels is that? Yeah.
So something like that. Well, do we move on to episode 3, The Lost Commanders?
He suffered a stroke in 2012.
Okay. So basically with the rebellion reeling and in need of allies, Ahsoka is like, hey, I know this military commander who could help us find a base in the Outer Rim, but I haven't been able to reach him for a long time. Now, when I first watched this series, of course, I had no idea who she was talking about because I had not seen Clone Wars. Yeah. Right. And I'm sure Clone Wars fans were just like, of course, this is Rex. Mm-hmm. And in fact, this whole 2-episode arc that we're going through is like a cum shot to all the Clone Wars fans because you get, all this dialogue about the 2 different perspectives of the Clone Wars and Order 66 and the aftermath and all that stuff. And it just, I don't know. I think if you were a huge Clone Wars fans coming into Rebels, these 2 episodes must have just been fucking awesome.
I saw Rebels, because I watched the Clone Wars when was it on Nickelodeon? I remember watching maybe most of this first season, like quite a bit of it. I remember seeing episodes of, but I didn't really keep up on it after that. And I wasn't like every week I need to watch the episodes. But when Rebels came out, I watched most of it through whatever half of the season 2 that I got to. So I saw Rebels first, and you're right. Like it didn't. I was like, who are these guys? It doesn't. Whatever. But then having watched all of Clone Wars and seeing this, you're right. There's a whole another level of shit that you get out of this episode.
And having seen the Clone Wars now, watching these 2 episodes again, I loved them. Like the first time I was like, oh yeah, that was fine. This time I liked them a lot more because of having that history.
And you get to see, so Kanan, understandably, after we've seen the Bad Batch and understood what happened in the first episode of the Bad Batch, you see him and Depa Bol.
Yep.
Get me, Matt. Depa, whatever her name is.
Bobo.
Depa Balaba.
Balaba.
That's what we said.
You see her demise, and you see Kanan run off away from the Bad Batch, and you see the whole crosshairs turn, right?
Yeah.
So now, like, I watched this before I watched Clone Wars, and I had no idea about that backstory, and then we finally see it in Bad Batch, so it's really like kind of crazy how it's drawn in on all 3 of those seasons.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, they stayed true to the story. Like they didn't alter it at all, it seemed like. But didn't you love so Ahsoka like comes in with this tactical droid head from the Clone Wars and it's like, this will help you track him down. He was last seen in the Silo system, blah, blah, blah. And I like how she's like, Kanan, you must trust him. And then there's this pause. Trust him. Yeah. Because she knows he's going to see him and be like, fuck this guy.
It's a clone. He's going to fucking triggered right off the bat. Well, they did the clone head thing the tactical droid head in another.
Yeah, you're
clone,
right.
They did
the
Clone Wars episode.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right. I can't remember it exactly, but you're right.
And they did it in Solo as well. So it's a thing they do.
Yeah. It's got a lot of information in there.
So fast forward to they get to Silos, introductions aside, you get Captain Rex, you get Gregor, and you get Wolf. Wolf, is it right?
Yeah. The last time we saw all of them, Gregor was obviously we saw in the Bad Batch. Mm-hmm. He was the one who was training the stormtroopers. On Darrow.
Wasn't he the one that we saw being chased at first, though? Right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then he's imprisoned.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, of course, we saw Rex in Bad Batch, and we saw Wolf. Wolf was like, I think he was like Plo Koon's guy. I think he was like always with him.
Oh, okay.
And
All right.
that eye he lost was to Cole's dominatrix, Asajj Ventress. I think that might have been in like a comic or something.
Oh.
She got his eye.
Okay.
There you go.
She can have my eye.
She had
does.
your eyes the whole time, both of them.
She had the eye of the storm. Yeah, so they're just chilling out on Selos, slinging for Jupas, by the way, which is
Right.
apparently a big.
It's like if a crate dragon was a sand shrimp.
Yep. Big
like a
sons of
tremor.
bitches.
Looked like a tremor.
Their whole fucking ships just gotta smell like a fucking red lobster. It's just
So a little design flaw in their Jupa slinging strategy.
okay.
They got the fucking Jedi in the front of the boat with the tuning fork, trying to hit the fucking send the shock down the tractor beam, where the hell the thing is.
Yeah, the
Meanwhile,
fishing line.
The fishing line. Meanwhile, fucking Sabine is standing like 3 feet away from the fishing line, working on the like hydraulics or whatever. I'm like, just give her the fork and let her hit the thing as it's coming directly out of the fucking source.
They're making it harder than it needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got fucking Ezra on Kanan's shoulders, using the force to balance, trying to hit this thing. I'm like, you guys are really fucking.
There's a lot more going on than needs to be, but it's better to watch this way.
Well, at one point, Ezra goes, "I can't reach it," and he's got the pole by the middle of it. I'm like, maybe go to the end, and go higher.
It's an extension on that, Ezra. Push the button. It's like a Swiffer. It goes out.
Yeah, I love how they're like, Zeb, you're going to be real handy, and he's thinking he's going to go out there and fight this thing, and then they realize later he's like, no, you're the bait because they like Lasats.
He's got one of those little harnesses you'd see on a kid that's in Walmart.
yeah.
That runs off with a leash.
It was what I had to put on my kid when we went to Disney World. You ain't running off, little fucker.
And Gregor's kooky as fuck, man. Gregor, his mind
he's
is
lost
scrambled.
his marbles. Right.
Yeah, he gone. So.
I think when he lost that eyeball lightsaber, I think some brain cells got cooked as well.
That was the other one, but that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So,
you're right.
long story short, with this episode, they sling for Jupas. They get themselves a little Jupa prize. The whole episode is basically about them pulling that thing in.
Although, like, there was like a Looney Tunes moment where, like, when he comes out of the mouth after he was the bait, he's mad and he's like, "Oh, you caught it." He's like, "I did catch it." Like, all it took was like one line of, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I'm really cool. I meant to do that, Kanan."
I was waiting for the whole Waterworld trick where he's got the double harpoon and he gets swallowed by the sea monster and he shoots him out the sides, right? You guys remember that one?
I remember Waterworld. I don't remember that scene.
Well, there's a lot of chatter too with Kanan struggling with being around clones and him like explaining the Order 66 stuff to Ezra and how it affected him, and Rex walking by and being like, "Hey, just so you know, my chip's out. I didn't attack my master." Like, he kind of almost did, but yes, right. But there's a lot of that chatter, and then at one point, Hera, being the voice of reason, tells him like, the clones saved like billions of people, including me. So you might want to, take a beat on that, on all that anger.
Who didn't? Rex was on Ahsoka's side when they went after, like, her clones went after her, and she did that whole on the table 360 attack thing. I remember that at the end of Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Yes, but wasn't he the one who says fives? Who's the one who says fives to her and is trying to hold himself back from attacking her? Was it not Rex? Now I'm forgetting.
It might have been. I'm not sure. I think he did attack her. I think if I remember correctly.
I think he warned her so she could get out before he did it. Like he
was
couldn't
fighting
control
it.
himself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. And that's when she went up the ceiling.
Yes, exactly.
And then so, like, in order to, self-fulfilling prophecy, old Wolfie is in on the double cross. He contacts the Empire right away.
Dumbass.
And they're like,
I love how 35 fucking years later, he's like, "Yeah, I got this guy on speed dial still."
Well, they ignored his transmissions from like the last 35 years, and then all of a sudden they're like, old Wolfie reached out from Selos.
Right.
We must run down all leads.
And he apparently had been hiding all the messages from Ahsoka. So she'd been trying to reach out to Rex, and Wolf had been eating those. That was also mentioned. So the Wolf was being a real prick.
Stuffing them in his mouth.
What are you doing, Wolf? Nothing.
How many times I gotta tell you stop eating paper, Wolf?
Yeah, I just eating Jupa. Where'd you get Jupa? Yeah, I also like the fact that, by the way, there's a point where Kanan is fucking around on the Phantom. I think it's right before he tells Ezra about Order 66, and he clicks part of his lightsaber together, and he looks down the barrel, and I'm like, he's just like Luke.
Yep.
Is it like, if you're not a fully trained Jedi, are you just stupid?
Yeah, of course.
Don't look down the barrel of a lightsaber, please.
No trigger discipline either. He had his finger right on the button to turn it on. So in the meantime, they dispatch a probe to investigate. The Empire does, and
Fucking probes are everywhere.
Probe gets in there and disables the Phantom, like blast. And then old Rexy snipes it. I still got it. Like snipes it from a ways away. Long story short, they're stranded on this makeshift walker. The Phantom's disabled, and the Empire is incoming.
Yep.
And then we get the to be continued title card.
Yep.
That's right.
And that takes us to episode 4, where they're trying to repair the Phantom before the Empire gets there. There's a big sandstorm coming, and Rex gives them the coordinates for what he says: every base, installation, pirate hideout, and smuggler's den in the Outer Rim. So that'll be nice and handy.
Yep.
And Callus' Star Destroyer shows up and sends in the ties, and he also calls Wolf, and Wolf tries to do this bullshit act like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't mean to call you. Like, terrible acting job. But I love the fact that Callus is like, check out this video I'm going to show you. This is them on your tank, dumbass. So either give them up or I'm going to kill you all.
Well, then I think Rex does a little shit talking in return to Callus. Callus says something about, we're sending in some stormtroopers. He's like, well, you want to see some real soldiers? Send those guys on. Or something. What does he say? He says something real shitty back to him.
He basically says your stormtroopers are ass. But he's like, I have a lot of them.
He does say that. Yeah.
There's strength in numbers. So they hightail it into the sandstorm. They go into the sandstorm for cover, and now we have episode 8, the slowest chase in the history of chases. 3 like AT-ATs trying to pinpoint this. Well, what do they have? It was like a clone transport or something.
It was a few things made into big fucking walking It was like an oil rig on legs.
Are you talking about what they're driving around in?
Yeah.
It's a clone
those were in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, it was one of the clone walkers, right, or something.
They called them clone tanks or something. I can't remember the name of them. They have
a
couple letter whatever alphanumeric name. But yeah, I actually kind of like the part where it gets all sandy and he's using the Force to try to almost like a game of chess. He's trying to outmaneuver him.
Right.
But of course, in the process, while all that's happening, the Star Destroyer gets word. They're like, hey, Lord Vader wants to rendezvous with us. He's like, okay, so they start moving around because Hera's up there the whole time trying to fix the hyperdrive and the Ghost.
Yep.
And she's laying low, has turned everything off. Those guys start maneuvering to leave. And again, Chopper, what the fuck are they doing? He says that.
Yes. I think that's the one where I was like, oh, I heard that. Yeah.
And then they jump to hyperspace. They leave.
I'm going to have to go through and see if I can pull
Listen
this.
a little closer and you'll it almost sounds like, because there's just enough pause where it's almost in between words. And you're like, oh, he is saying, every once in a while you'll make words out.
Yeah.
So then, meanwhile, down on Silos, Kanan's like, just follow me and trust my instinct. He's like, okay, I got us dead center in between all 3 of them.
Yeah, what?
Where are your tactics going here, buddy? There's one off, they're surrounded us. Then he pulls the Legolas from the 2 towers. Their armor is weak about the neck. I'm like, okay, what do you got going on here? Is that some sort of inside knowledge on the AT-AT design?
Just out of nowhere, he just tells them that, yeah.
Because they just noticed them. They were like, these are brand new things. And so they already know that the next week, Sabine knew it, I think, right? She knows all that shit.
Yeah. So they got to basically use the Force to guide the shot because the scopes are dead. No scopes in the sandstorm, right?
Yeah.
So
trust your feelings, Ezra.
Yep. And like you said, Constantine leaves, Emperor, or well, not Emperor, but Admiral Constantine, I think it is.
He
like,
takes
hey,
off.
we need you back here. Okay.
And then you could tell he's kind of following orders, but under protest. And apparently Duck Dynasty is calling in on the show.
I don't know what the fuck that was for.
Well, so he takes the shot, and now they're shooting. They actually reveal their position, and they're shooting. And I think it's at this point, did you catch the Callus line that was ripped straight from Admiral Veers in Empire on Hoth? He goes, intensify forward firepower. It's the exact same line you hear right before they shoot the Hoth base. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool. So then, I got the kind of they stay behind to cover the escape type of vibe. Let's make amends for Order 66.
These fuckers always want to die in battle. They are happy to be like, nope, you guys go ahead.
The code of Bushido running through their veins.
And boy, do they put up a fight. That fucking little slow-ass crawler's climbing up the at. It's like, well, whatever. They're hanging from the fucking thing. I got to get the shot off. And Ezra's like, we can't leave them.
Well, in that move, they come back on the Phantom. He convinces Kanan to come back. They go through the legs, which is what you see in Empire at one point. And they go up, and they all 3, Zeb, Ezra, and Kanan, all jump out and then land on the top of that AT-AT. That was pretty badass.
That was pretty badass, yeah.
So then they shoot the other one, and I think it's at that point where they're finally going to leave. The funny part is, I love how Ezra's really made a connection with Rex, and he like keeps talking to him and asking him why he won't join the rebellion and all this stuff. It's like he's like, "Will you be my grandfather? Will you take me fishing on Lothal?" And that carries over going forward because you definitely get the my two dads thing later with him and Kanan, you know, back and forth.
Well, there's the don't forget the shot where like was it Hera comes in, you know, side blasts the shit out of that, it just tips over and falls over. Like a millisecond later, Callus is on his little speeder, like a mustache twirling villain, like I'll get you later as they fucking. And then isn't there a stormtrooper like running? Woo!
Yes, trying to catch up. Yeah, one of the pilots.
Con Air.
It might have been Filoni's one of the voices of the AT-AT pilots in this thing, which is
okay.
There must be like a fuck it, I'll do it moment that happens all the time with these animation shows where it's just like, who do you want to get? I'll just do it. It's fine. It's one line.
Who wants to fill in here? Yep.
Send in Trapper Wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's sort of like the wrap up right there, right?
Well, wrap up. I would say Rex and Ahsoka reunite, and I missed you, right? Like,
but
it got me.
They left the other two. They didn't go with them, did they?
What do you mean?
We never see Wolfie or Gregor again.
No, Wolf and Gregor stay, and Rex joins them and goes with them, and you get that hug with Ahsoka and Rex, and having seen the Clone Wars and all this other stuff now, it actually got me. The first time I was like, okay. Right. This time I was like, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
You also get the appearance of the new Inquisitor with the sombrero, right? Mm-hmm. Is that the one?
I think it's more tri-corner hat, like a Revolutionary War
or a sea captain.
Yeah. And this guy is the guy who allegedly could be in Kenobi.
It's played by Han from Fast and Furious movies.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So episode 5, always two there are.
Always two there are.
So we're back on the Ghost. Ezra's, joking about levitating Chopper, and Chopper, I think at one point he says, is it okay if I drop him? And Chopper says, hey, what the fuck? Again, I just got to point these out because I wrote them down every time because I'm like, it sounds like exactly what he's saying. So yeah, Chopper locks himself to the floor and Ezra can't do it. But then you get Rex just waxing poetic about fucking Anakin. Oh, he used the Force and his wits. He was a great warrior. It's like, dude, Rex, do you recall the time when he murdered all the children? You got that still in your mind, right?
He wasn't there for that. That's a rumor.
He didn't get that part. Yeah. Fake news.
He's like an expert at news. He's an expert. You beat me to the political punch before I could get to it. He's an expert at revisionist history. Like he just fucking like, this is the tale we're gonna tell.
Yeah.
He was a good guy. He enslaved all the fucking people of one planet. But
he did some good things.
Let's not focus on the bad.
He discovered a new world.
Yeah.
So
he built highways and railroads, and
he was a great pilot.
Oh shit.
So Sabine, Zeb, Ezra, and Chopper go to this abandoned medical space station. A droid, a little probe droid, those fucking droids, and some mysterious woman are monitoring them as they power up the station, which alerts Callus. And then the fifth brother, they're like, oh, well, we're all going to go to the station. The fifth brother's like, nah, fam, I got it. Like, I'll go. You just stay here. He does not want anybody's help.
No.
Well, Ezra kind of joins the mission. It was supposed to be just Zeb and Chopper and Sabine. And Ezra's like, I can't take any more.
The two dads
Kanan
are fighting.
The two dads, the stepfather and the father, were fucking going after it over the 50-50 custody.
Yep.
So, like, he ends up leaving and kind of has a tag along in this episode, too.
Is this the one where he's flirting with Sabine?
I have it written down that she does a bit of tagging. She just goes walking through and she tags something, right?
Yeah. No, this isn't the episode, though. There's one where he goes with her and he's always like, well, hey, so what do you think?
Mm-hmm. That's the, where
is it the one where he's saying you always want to be alone? Is it that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's later.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's in a couple episodes. But yeah, so they come upon the seventh sister, voiced by
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
It's a family affair. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right when I heard the voice, I didn't even look it up. I was like, I'm going to run this by Matt because I knew you'd have it written down. But yeah, right when I heard her, I was like, oh, yeah, that's definitely her.
What do you mean a family affair?
Freddie Prinze Jr. is married to her.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So her and the fifth brother capture Ezra and plan to use him as bait while Sabine goes and gets Zeb, but the fifth brother knocks out Sabine with her own detonators, and that leaves. And then he's like, "I'll leave the droids. I'll leave Zeb for the other guy for the droids." Luckily, Zeb smashes them to bits. That was kind of a bad plan by the fifth brother to just like go, "I'm gonna leave this Lasat up against two probe droids. They'll be fine." And he just kicks the shit out of them. So he ends up getting away from them, gets the medical supplies, and then he's like, "Shit, I gotta help them." Zeb's always on the verge of leaving. He's like, "I guess I gotta help."
Yeah.
He always has
keep your chin up.
Flash of conscience.
Well, and you heard the name, right? Commander Meiluran.
Yeah, Commander Meiluran. Yep.
Oh, and then Seventh Sister reveals, like, tell me where Ahsoka Tano is. he's like, who's Ahsoka Tano? How do you say it?
Right. Yeah.
Ashoka? He said it said Ahsoka.
Yeah, so he's kind of resisting her Jedi mind probe, right? And then we find out that the Inquisitor that Kanan killed was the Grand Inquisitor, right?
Right.
That's what
yes.
they say. They mention him by name.
Mm-hmm.
And
He was the Kylo Ren to the
Yes.
Ben Solo.
Of the
Other
boy band.
Rens.
Of the boy band Inquisitors, yes.
right. The boys to run.
Boys are in. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. So Sabine kind of gets, so she gets captured. Sabine gets captured with Ezra, right? Zeb kills those probe droids, like you're saying, finds Chopper. They do the old Phantom on the ceiling move. Keep your head up, keep your chin up,
Yeah.
right, is what he says. What he says to him in his Melu run thing. So they come in and he's like gravity weld to the ceiling.
Yeah.
And the Inquisitors just happen to not look up, you know?
He's just fucking like in the dark waving at him. Hey, see me up
It's
here?
me. I'm up here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he drops down, blaster fire. They escape, get into the old Phantom, and as they're leaving, the Inquisitors are dueling up on the fucking force pull.
Yeah, they almost didn't make it out of there.
Yeah, it was close.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to give it full power, a little bit more Scotty, full power.
And they had the
110%.
bay door open, the back bay door open. They were just opening fire on the two of them. So they just kind of lost their focus.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and then I think it just ends with Ezra asking Kanan about it. He's like, who the fuck are these people? And he's like, I don't know.
Right.
That good.
Kind of a big reveal, too, that there was more than one Inquisitor, too. We always thought that there was one, so there's a male and then there's a female. Now,
And now we, with their names being numbers, we know there's more than just the two of them as well.
well, always two there are, so there's always a master and an apprentice, but there's obviously apparently more Sith. There's a lot more duos than we thought of. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
gotta
the
be an
always
even
two
number.
there are thing is confusing. I'm not sure why that applied to this episode because we're led to believe that there are many Inquisitors. Like I said, it's
Right.
part of that whole program. It's
And these two definitely don't normally work together. They
Didn't
don't
seem like
she doesn't seem to enjoy his company much.
no, she's laughing at him all the time when he fucks
yeah.
up. So yeah.
Yeah,
so.
she's more he's like the muscle and she's the brains.
Right. Episode 6.
Yes.
Brothers of the Broken Horn.
I mean, not every episode can be a winner, right?
You're right, but I enjoyed this episode because it was another one of those callbacks to the Clone Wars, and this guy is just like there's something funny about him, and I like the chemistry between Ezra and him because every time he gets played by Ezra, he's like, I knew I liked you, like he's never angry about it, they become friends because of it.
Yeah, we're on Garel. It starts out we're on Garel, and Ezra's feeling like overwhelmed about being a soldier and a Jedi and all this stuff. He basically just wants to go back to where he was before and just be like, on his own and off the grid, whatever. But they get this report from Commander Sato about this ice planet of Rin, which is facing an energy crisis. So again, got to get supplies.
Right.
You always got to get supplies. And so they try to hit the black market and get some generators, and they're like, Ezra, you just clean the ghost. We're gonna all go and leave the kid with Chopper.
You didn't do your chores. You don't get to go out and have fun with us.
Yeah, like this, nothing will go wrong here. And they get the distress call from Vizago, who we haven't heard from in a little bit. And Ezra and Chopper go to investigate that, and that's when they board and Chopper finds a bunch of power generators while they kind of split up. And Ezra runs into these shutdown droids, and then he finds our boy Hondo Inaka.
Right.
Yeah, who now owns, apparently, Vizago's ship through a Sabacc game.
Right. Very, very, very Lando and Han Solo kind of backstory.
Speaking of Lando, he tells Hondo that his name is Lando Calrissian.
He gotta stop doing that. It just keeps getting into trouble. It's funny at first, but you're like, dude, you're just gonna keep getting yourself into a bad spot here.
He's known as every famous Star Wars character from the original trilogy, but Ezra.
So he makes a deal for these power generators in order to, get Hondo back online and everything, and then they go to drop off these Honda these Honda power generators. They go to drop off these power generators to guess who is buying them? Our friend as Morgan.
That's
I mean, of course. The exchange with him and Hondo is pretty funny.
Flashback now, in Clone Wars, he was the one that commits the assassination, right? Or was it Rebels? Didn't we see him? The episode with Hera's parents.
As Morgan did that?
Wasn't he the one that was there that does the shoot? No, that was I'm sorry. It was the guy. He was in the Phantom Menace. He was the blue head, big blue.
Yeah, I don't think we see as Morgan until
You're right.
Season 1 of Rebels on the Lando episode.
Okay, yeah, the
Takes,
episode where Hera
hostage.
goes into the okay.
Yeah, the puffer pigs.
Yeah,
all that
yep,
shit.
yep.
Yeah.
Puffer pigs, fucking puffer pigs. So we get to see Chopper go Yosemite Sam in this episode. He goes like fucking with two blasters at as Morgan.
Yeah, you know what he
does.
says? Remember me, asshole? Eat shit. That's what he says. Go back and listen. He goes, "Remember me, asshole," with one gun. Then he hits the other gun and he goes, "Eat shit." And then he starts shooting him.
Very reminiscent of Yosemite Sam.
I feel like he's going to be like, at the end of this episode, he's going to be like, really, I didn't understand any of it. The subtitles were on, and that's what they said.
We're going to get fucking sued for libel because Matt keeps fucking inferring the
That's
wrong
exactly
thing.
what they said.
no.
It's what do they say in the news? It's what's the word they use? Because they can't say they committed the murder until they're
Guilty until proven innocent? Or innocent
not
until proven
accused, but they're
Allegedly?
allegedly.
Oh,
Yes.
right.
Yeah, allegedly. Chopper.
Well, if we
said-
get that sort of attention, then that means we're doing well. So that's okay. I welcome.
Yeah,
it.
that's
I welcome
true.
that
Yeah.
attention. I welcome the legal briefs. But of course, as Morgan gets away, that fat fuck, he can get away from anything. Everybody else, his guards are getting smoked.
Yeah.
That guy keeps getting away from everything. I don't know how that happens. Slippery.
Yeah, he's a real piece of
This is
shit.
fucking Hondo's about 2 seconds from breathing nowhere, and he's saved.
Yeah.
But this little fat fuck waddles away.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Ezra's like, okay, give me the generators. Give me all the generators, and I'll join your crew, which is like, ooh, that's a bad decision. But
Yeah.
in the meantime, he finds Vizago, who's imprisoned on the ship, on his own ship. And he's like, oh, shit, well, I made a deal with you last season. That's not what he says. But he said, I made a deal with you. I owe you one. I'll help you get your ship back. But then, of course, Vizago immediately double-crosses Ezra and turns his fucking droids loose.
Double cross on the double cross.
And Hondo's like, oh, look, another trap door right here in the middle of the room. He fucking just takes off.
Yeah, and then the episode basically wraps up like Hondo offers Ezra a spot on his crew, right? And it's kind of like Ezra
Yeah.
out on his own episode. He goes out and sees the world, and then he realizes he's on a different path now, and he has a
Right.
family that depends on him.
Right. Yep. And I like the fact that he gets away on the Phantom, Hondo, and then they come back. And Hondo's sitting there telling these tales, and he's like, oh, yeah, so then I came back here. And he's like, no, Chopper set the thing to autopilot, you moron. You can go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
Yep.
Wings of the Master, episode 7.
Yes. So it looks like they're trying to make a supply drop to
No way.
Ibar.
No way. They're delivering
Yeah.
supplies.
Believe it or not, trying to bust through an Imperial blockade.
My favorite thing is when they come through hyperspace and boom, and the ships are blocking the planet. But, you see
go
this
around.
large... Right.
Just go around.
Come out another fucking way.
Send 2 X-Wings, one to the left, one to the right. Now you got one ship to deal with.
There's only one way through them.
I don't know if they understand the fucking idea of the circumference of a circle. Which
Well,
is a globe.
it's the same joke as when every time they go to like a planet, it's always the same town in the planet,
Right.
even though it's an entire planet. It's like they always land in Grand Rapids, Michigan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, come in on the back side of the planet. They won't even see you. There's a whole
Nope.
entire planet blocking you. But so they go after this blockade. They lose a command transport trying to get to this this blockade to Ibar. Fucking Hera's like, you know what? If you don't succeed once, try again. Give me 2 more transports.
Give me all your ships.
Give me 3 transports.
promise I'll
One
make
of them
it.
will get through.
Right.
Like, you know what? We can't lose ships at a rate of 4-1 to get these people food.
Pretty low resources in the rebellion at this point.
And don't they have like fucking like space food torpedoes where they can just like start launching them out of the ship to the planet? And,
You would think, again,
Yeah.
from the other side of the planet. Real easy.
It's got to be physically dropped off by all 5 of us.
You guys obviously don't know the mechanics here. Freeze-dried food doesn't last well in 0 gravity. So it dissipates into force dust. So apparently they look into a blockade buster. So they're going to visit the town or city or state or country or
It's a
planet
planet.
of Shantipole.
Right.
Yeah, and it's funny
Shantipole.
because the guy that Rex suggests that they go see, this engineer, his name is Quarry, and but yet he's a Mon Calamari guy. I'm like, what? He's from the same planet. He's not a Quarren. His name's Quarry, but he's a Mon Calamari. Is that just like where his parents fucking with him?
Yeah, I
I
know.
like that. By the way, he's voiced by Corey Burton, Count Dooku, Chad Bane, and none other than Zero the Hutt.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I feel like Zero the Hook could be out on a Nexus as well.
Okay, first of all,
he
the
could.
ship's awesome, but I love the fact that this guy's never flown a ship in his life.
Yeah,
He's like, well,
just an
theoretically,
engineer.
it should work.
I love that.
He's got a new ship named the Blade Wing, which is going to be reference to the B-Wing fighter, which is going to come into the Star Wars
Did
universe.
you get like an idea like he was a bit sexist? Like, oh, you're a woman. You
Your
can't
woman
fly this ship.
Yeah, maybe. He was real down on anybody. Like I made this thing and I'm going to pick the right pilot to do it. And I know what I'm talking about. And then the second, she doesn't take him long to be sold on it because she's just like gives him this, inspiring story about why she learned to fly and how she helps people. And he's like, you're good.
Like,
Like that.
visually, if you watch her, it's tied back to when we see her as a kid.
Bad Batch?
When they're doing the hands, the flying through the sky. Remember?
Yep. Yeah.
That was the whole story goes right back to that. I was like, oh, good callback.
Right.
We also find out that the Ghost is a Corellian class VCX. I wrote that down in my notes. So that's also
Made on your home planet.
of Corellia. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the Millennium Falcon? It's a Corellian vessel as well. Right?
It is Corellian. I don't know what it is though. I can't remember the name of it. Somebody's yelling again. I was probably right.
It's the Millennium Falcon. That's the name of it.
That's the name of it.
The Corellian class. So, long story short, they bust the blockade with the new ship. The drop becomes a success. This thing's got the whole Death Star vibe to it, where it can be concentrated points of beam to a single point and then blast through whatever.
It's got some pretty strong ion cannons.
And I got a little bit of a plot hole here because they're like, the hyperdrive's broken, and then all of a sudden the hyperdrive is hard enough for them to bust out of there after they fucking make the drop.
It's because it was attached to the Phantom.
Okay.
He installed when he was
they
repairing the
piggybacked.
Phantom, because the Phantom has just been taking a beating, by the way, for like the whole season.
Right. Yeah.
And he was repairing the Phantom with his astromech, and he says to Hera, I put the extra hyperdrive on the Phantom, and she's like, "You're a fucking genius." So when you watch them come in, they're attached to the Phantom, and then when you watch them leave, they're also attached.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm the asshole.
I closed that plot hole.
Filled the gap in very nicely.
Just go ahead and take this last 3 minutes right out of the show.
Bullseye
I
Wombats
got
with
you.
your T16.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the episode, Hera gets promoted to
Captain.
Phoenix Leader.
Phoenix Leader.
Yep.
Phallus Phoenix.
When she comes in that B-wing, by the way, Kanan looks up and has this look of like, I'm gonna blow in my pants right now. He is so excited watching her fly in on that
girl.
But like even when she gets hurt, like the next episode or two that we talked to, when he shows up at her hospital bed next to her and Sabine is like goes up to the bed and hugs her and everything, he just sits back. It's like they have the weirdest fucking relationship.
Yeah, very cold.
Yeah, it's like they care for each other. It's obvious they're a couple, but there's never been one. Like maybe they learned their lesson from Anakin and Padme in those weird horny episodes. So,
right.
Like they just like draw the line.
Yeah, they don't
like
want to go
cartoons.
overboard again.
Right. Yeah.
Filoni heard about it too much from somebody. He's like, okay, fine. We'll have them sleep in separate beds. Well, they sleep in separate quarters, right? So
They do?
don't they? Don't they have their
I
own
don't
quarters?
know. I didn't realize
Do they
if
share
they
quarters?
did or not. They can't have that many rooms on that ship.
Well, Ezra and Zeb share, and Sabine's got her own.
Yep.
So maybe they do have their quarter. Maybe they have
They got to have a master quarters, right?
or something like that. I don't know. Maybe.
Because Chopper's not sleeping with one of them.
No, that guy's not allowed anyway.
Out in the hallway.
He has to sleep in the Phantom.
Right?
The front seat of the Ghost, just lay down and it's a bed.
Yeah, there you go.
So on to Blood Sisters. Again,
yeah.
back on Gorelick. It kind of seems to be the place we start a lot of these from. And Hera tasks Sabine with picking up a courier with major info and taking him to Havoc Outpost.
It's a long way to Alderaan.
I know, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're looking for this courier, and they're asking all these people. It's hilarious. All these people are walking by like, who are you people? You're nuts. It's Ezra and Chopper and Sabine. And that's when they find out it's actually a Gonk. Gonk droid is the courier.
Yep.
EG-86, Gonky droid.
He gets all excited when he hears it. Although it's weird that it takes him all of the passengers to be gone before he's like, oh, you're talking to me.
Yeah. Well, and later, which we'll get to in a minute, when he's sitting inside the ship and looking at Chopper trying to fly back inside the ship and he's bouncing like, come on. Is this the goofiest fucking droid?
On their way to get the courier, Sabine, kind of a little foreshadowing here, looks on the wall and sees a little graffiti mark.
Right.
And that ends up being her blood sister, if you will.
Ketsu.
Well, I wouldn't say it's her
Ketsu
blood sister.
Onyo.
They were best friends. They were considered sisters, right?
In the academy.
And this is the episode where Ezra tags along. He's like, you always want to be alone. Even when you're alone, you want to be alone. You tell me you're alone.
Yeah,
you always tell me you're alone.
Doing that,
She doesn't want to talk to you.
Stupid
Ezra.
dialogue to her. Just running his mouth. And then
Teenagers.
You get a little bit of backstory between Ketsu and Sabine. Sabine used to be a bounty hunter. And Ketsu is also there for the droid, who is now still a bounty hunter, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And you get a lot of back and forth. Well, like, oh, you've changed. Oh, you've changed. And
You left me.
you left me to die. They were both broke out of the Imperial Academy together.
This episode actually originally was called Scissor Sisters.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Perfect. And then there were some paper cuts.
bleep.
Beep, beep, boop. Ketsu got greedy and left Sabine for dead, according to her friend Sabine. And also, she's working for the Black Sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
Who's running the Black Sun at this time?
Oof, great question. You're on the wrong show to ask that question. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
So we get a little peek into Chopper's humanity. He goes onto the shuttle, and he powers down the shuttle droid instead of just killing it for once.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he's killed no one this season.
He hasn't killed anyone so
Right.
far. Like he's like not a serial killer.
And it wasn't Pee Wee Herman this time, was it?
I don't think so. I think
don't-
I looked at the credits and I don't think it was him this time.
Yeah, it was a different voice for sure.
But
Yeah.
you get some fun moments from Chopper. He gets to disable Ketsu's like
Oh,
big
man.
gun on the thing, and he's just like taunting her, like pulling washers and like
Well,
gaskets.
this is the one where he's like fucking flying out in space.
Yeah.
Being a fucking little. It reminded me of the episode of the Twilight Zone where there's the gremlin on the wing of the plane.
Oh, the man
Like,
on the wing of the plane. Yeah.
He's just out
And he-
there doing shit
and he
all the
waves
time.
his finger at him.
Yeah.
Ripping shit off the engine. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Because they steal that shuttle. What's his face? Ezra falls off, so he's still there.
Right.
But when they get out there, Ketsu goes after her and is like, shooting at her. Well, and again, I'm just gonna say it one more time. When the alarm sounds, when she's out in space and that ship's coming up, Chopper says, "What the fuck is that now?" Again, just had to throw it in there. But when she blows the door off the shuttle, Chopper goes flying out. And the Gonk almost does, and Sabine almost does, and she's doing that like barely reaching for the door to shut it down so she can stay on board. But Chopper's way the fuck out there. But it ends up playing to their benefit because Ketsu's got her lined up in her sights, and yeah, he's ripping the thing apart. That they're her big gun, while Sabine's like stalling and saying all this
she's
shit,
just
give him
watching
time.
them.
And when he comes over the top of the windshield and goes, like
Yep.
after she shoots another Little asshole.
He's grown on me this season.
Yeah.
He's a fucking
He's
nutbag, man.
He is my new favorite droid. Like out of all of them, it should be all Chopper on Mount Everest.
He's great. All four of them.
Yeah. Well, Ketsu's ship gets named out too. It's called the Shadowcaster.
Yeah.
And then she ends up coming back.
That's a badass ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She ends up coming back for Sabine this time. So what happens? Does the Empire show up or something? I can't remember.
The Empire shows up when they're docked, because what happens is she gets Chopper and she says, I'll swap you droids. Like, let's make an exchange. And Sabine agrees to it just to kind of get the thing going. They connect and they're doing the swap, but Sabine's like, I'm not going to give you the droid, and they're having like the standoff. And that's when the Empire comes in and starts saying they're going to shoot him. They're like, well, we need to set some charges, blow this fucking shuttle up and get out of here.
Yeah, we're gonna work as teammates now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so then, as they're starting to do that, the Empire realizes it and shoots at the shuttle, knocks Sabine out. There's a point where Ketsu's like, "You need to disconnect our path here, our bridge," and realizes if she does
it's
that,
like that accordion fucking an airplane has. It just happens to work in space as well.
Yeah, exactly. So she goes and gets Sabine and brings her back, and they blow the shuttle, and they're able to get out of. Well, actually, what it is they pull them in the tractor beam, and the detonation goes off right as it gets close to the Empire ship, and it fucks them up, so they're able to get out.
Pulls them out of the tractor, and then they take off. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Mission success, and old Gonki goes to Senator Organa.
Yep.
And R2's there.
Yes.
R2.
Got to see a little R2 action, so that was cool.
And him and Chopper have a little talk, and then R2 gives him the one you ain't better than me. Do you know? It's like he's like I'm bigger. Like let's just make it clear.
Yeah, you smashed into me. Remember that?
Yeah.
Episode 2 of this fucking series? You smashed into me over and over again. You're not tough. But then Sabine thanks Ketsu and is like, you should help the rebellion. She's like, maybe.
I think we're going to see her again. I think we're going to see her again.
Maybe. I can't remember now.
And who was it voiced by? It was voiced by, what's her face from Serenity?
Gina Torres.
Yeah.
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 She's been in a bunch of stuff. So episode 9, Stealth Strike. Ezra is with Sato, and they're looking for a missing patrol ship. And Ezra senses he's like, something's about to happen, and they get yanked out of hyperspace, which he did not know was a possibility. And their power gets deactivated, and the ghost gets the distress call. And Sabine's like, they were working on that.
We're out in the outer rim, right? So this is where we're leading to shit that
Del Zenis.
Well, we know stuff's not. We know that because we know enough history now. We know some of the secret stuff that no one's aware of is happening out there. And if this is I'm waiting for either when it hears those noises, I'm like, are we hearing the fucking hyperspace whales, or is homeboy Blue Boy face out there?
Thrawn.
That's his name.
He's in the unknown regions, right? Like just beyond the outer rim.
The outer rim, right? Yeah. But it seems to be teasing us as we're getting closer out there.
True.
That's what I was. That's what I was taking from this, anyways.
Yep. No, that's a good point. Yeah, so then Sato and Ezra get taken into custody, and Ezra's little Jabba joke only confirms that he is
Right.
Ezra.
Yeah.
See, came back to bite you, buddy.
The ruse is up. They're onto your alias, my friend.
And then Hera sends Kanan and Rex to recover them, disguised as stormtroopers on an Imperial shuttle. And that painting Sabine does of those two fighting together side by side is so fucking hilarious. She's like, when did he have time to do that? Did you see
Right.
that? Oh, that was funny. Kanan's like, our objective is this is a rescue mission. We're there to get Sato and Ezra. And Rex is like, we should probably blow that ship, though. Just saying, we should probably blow that thing up because that's going to be a problem.
Right.
Well, yeah. So Ezra accidentally stuns Kanan and Rex as they come around the corner.
Oh, fuck.
He just shoots them both,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, well, you came in here hot.
Dead to rights, man.
He's like, lucky didn't have this thing on. Fucking. Does his little baby training lightsaber have anything other than the stun option? Because
I think it only has the stun, but the thing that's funny about it is that he feeds him that line of bullshit about how they fought and got knocked down, and then Chopper immediately plays the goddamn instant replay.
Yeah.
Just to be a dick.
He's a fuck, man. Totally sells him out right there in front of him. You shot me? Oh my god.
Ezra, Ezra and Chopper go to find the reactor. They're gonna go try to blow the ship essentially, and Kanan and Rex are gonna go bust out Sato.
Did you guys get a very, very A New Hope, the play by play almost through this whole episode?
Yeah, you go disable the shield or the detractor beam, and we'll go. Yeah, it's exactly that. We'll meet you back at the ship. That kind of deal. Ezra distracts the reactor guards, and Chopper disables the gravity, and then he I love it. He's like, "Don't do it yet," and he re-enables it. He drops down. He's hanging on the side, and Chopper rolls over his fingers.
Over his fingers. Yeah, he's so fucking.
I'm telling you, man.
It's like Chopper's almost like a double agent. Like you're just waiting for him to turn on them. Like you're gonna see one of these episodes where they're all gonna be like, oh,
yeah.
Like all the times he
all
almost
along.
killed us wasn't an accident.
He's at least a sociopath. I mean, there's something wrong there. I mean, I know he's not human, but still. Yeah, and then you get a little fun Rex Kanan teamwork. Kicking some ass, doing force pulls and shots and all that kind of stuff.
Some good fights.
Yeah, we don't have any time. He just yanks the troops out from the hallway and Rex shoots him in the head. 3 of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, why were you guys doing this in the beginning?
Yeah, no kidding. And Rex is like, again, I'm going to hold off the troopers so you guys can go. And he gets captured, of course. And they're basically telling him they're going to execute him. And he's like, well, we'll give you a chance to come back and train stormtroopers. He's giving him the Gregor deal, essentially.
Yep.
And he's like, he's just denying it. But Kanan senses it and is like, fuck, I got to go back and get
my friend.
My friend, he says, friend. Exactly. So they get to an escape pod and get out. Ezra and Sato get back to the ship, and the gravity well fires up again. And they do this little trick where essentially Chopper had set it so that it pulled, because Chopper said, wait for it.
Yeah.
It's pulling all the ships toward him, so the other destroyers start destroying the ship itself before they get in, and then the tractor beam releases. So again, there's a lot of timing with tractor beams where it's like, we just got away.
It was pretty damn close, because everything
close.
is crashing into that. Like they needed to be the right distance away from everything else. I was like, fucking Chopper.
Yeah, the explosion never ends up getting them.
Right.
Close enough to get to the explosion.
And it even had the end of the Star Wars movie where the Death Star blows up and it's woof, and they're flying away.
Coming out of the fire. Yeah, exactly. It's always very, very close. And then you get the the Kanan and Rex salute.
Right.
Respect scene.
Yep.
So 2 more episodes.
And that's where Cole cried.
Oh, on the salute?
Yeah.
The bromance.
Episode 10, The Future of the Force. This opens with the Inquisitors boarding a transport and kidnapping Allura, a baby. Ahsoka's still having trouble tracking down the Sith Lord stuff, but she did track 2 different comms coming out of Mustafar.
I love how she's like, I'm going to go check out this one.
Yeah.
All of you go check out the other one.
I got this. Yeah. And it makes sense when you see it later. By the end of the
episode, she completely shows why she sends them all and she can handle. Holy shit, man.
Yeah, she's a fucking badass.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. She goes and finds the woman, the grandma, and she says 2 red blades took my granddaughter. And then she goes,
did anyone buy her as a grandma?
No, she looked like a mom.
I was like, throw some animated wrinkles on this lady. I was like, this is her kid. I was completely confused by this whole thing.
She was a gilf.
Okay. All right. Well, I agree.
Well, I don't remember. I don't know if I'm too far ahead here or not. I'm trying to look at my notes. I'm trying to remember this episode a little bit better, but Zeb finds a baby on the ship, right? That the Inquisitors just fucking left. And I'm like, I write down, they didn't even crack a window for the baby. It's just sitting there.
Irresponsible.
Yeah.
And then Chopper says something about blowing up the ship
Yes.
with the baby on board.
Yeah. Fucking Zeb becomes
Blow it up. It's a baby on there.
he becomes like the fucking baby whisperer in this episode.
Well, the voice of reason.
I like how he says, "I hope that's not a baby inquisitor."
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's take your daughter to work day.
Yep.
Inquisitor style.
And this is
Yeah.
where we get the seventh sister and fifth brother. They start referring
Right.
to themselves as that on the Inquisitors.
So the place that they go to is when they end up finding the one baby and the twin TIE fighters for the two Inquisitors. There's another one like in a high rise.
It's called Hammertown. That's where which I thought was funny because we used to refer to the guy we meet in A New Hope as Hammerhead, the Ithorian, and so
Right.
the whole place is called Hammertown.
Mm-hmm.
The planet is Takobo, and so yeah, it's a bunch of Ithorians all over the place, looking, trying to find this place. And you're right, it's they go into this essentially this apartment complex and find this person named Ura, and her apartment's been just trashed, and she's like, they took Pipey, and they tried to take Pipey.
Right.
She sent it off with a droid. That's right. So that's what happens there.
Yeah, and he's walking around with a cart and a fucking wicker basket.
Yeah, I know. That's a little
Zeb
obvious.
just rolls up. He's like, whatever this, I got the secret passcode. I could take the baby. No, you can't come with me. You go that way. We're create a diversion.
And then
the fucking
immediately-
robot's like, okay.
Immediately
Yeah,
killed.
it's fucking killed right away.
Right into the
And
Inquisitors.
then Zeb's like just chilling on the street, like, what the fuck happened over there? I'm like, dude,
Run! Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, these Inquisitors are after these Force-sensitive kids. This was another kind of plot double from, was it Clone Wars again?
Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
Chad Bane. Because Ahsoka references that. She said, I've seen this before in the Clone Wars. And that's what
That's
she's
right.
referring
Yep.
to is Chad was out there trying to take Force-sensitive kids back to Mustafar.
And she shows up, and it's game over for the Inquisitors. It's
Oh,
2-on-1. Like you always see 2-on-1 Sith versus Jedi, but
Right.
this one it's two Inquisitors versus Ahsoka.
She shows up like a badass after fucking Kanan and Ezra get their asses handed to him again. Like all of a sudden, like just like when Vader shows up, the fucking doors open up and she comes walking out and they're like, oh, ooh. And like it was like she was playing with them.
Did you hear what the Seven Sister said? She said, oh, unexpected, but not unwelcome.
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Also, she's like just under Asajj Ventress as fucking like
Live.
she's got some sexy going
She's
on.
very
Oh, yeah.
live.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, for sure.
I want to be beat up by her.
S&M.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so everything's good because she defeats them and then like kind of launches herself back, does one of those sweet slick moves to get out. But we kind of got a taste of it before. Ezra walking out with that kid's like, oh, we should take you back to Gorel. Did everybody hear that? And the fucking pro droid records it, so now they know where to go.
I thought they bugged the baby. I put it in there. They had a little.
No,
No,
it was
she,
the pro
she had
droid.
the one above the sign. She's like, you watch if anyone's coming through. And then it happens to miss Ezra and Kanan when they go in. But when Ezra comes out with the baby, he stops and goes, maybe I'll take you to Gorel where you'll be safe. And then he's like watching him. He records it and takes it back to her. So now they know where they're stationed.
And that leads us to the last episode, which I guess
Dun, dun,
there's a
dun.
note in there on the Wikipedia that's the last episode released prior to the release of The Force Awakens, just to give you a timeline of when this came out.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's not all tied together, but it's
Right.
some of that stuff is later. But yeah, Ezra has a vision. Here's his parents on Lothal, and he sees a Loth cat, and then he sees his parents locked in an Imperial cell, and then he sees like this mysterious man. Then he wakes up and he's telling Kanan about it. That's when Kanan and Hera are like, "Hey, so Zebo told us about your parents, and they were sent to prison."
Yep.
But they haven't figured out which one yet, and that's when they learn that Commander Sato is like, "Hey, there was a prison breakout," and he's like, "That's got to be my parents."
Yep.
And he's actually right because it ends up being they go through this list of the prisoners that were in there, and he does a little like force parsing, and he finds this prisoner called X10. So they go to Lothal to find X10.
And Ezra's like one fucking singular minded. I gotta get my parents. He's acting all erratic and emo, and he's fucking charging two Inquisitors on one. Like, yeah, all of a sudden your fucking force powers grew. They extrapolated overnight, Ezra. You can take on two Inquisitors because you want to see your mom and dad.
But he doesn't.
No.
Yeah.
He's operating on anger. It's the way it goes.
Kanan like ends up being like nope and hits the switch on the wall, so he
Right.
cuts him off from any like doing any harm.
He was whooping some good ass though, but then when he goes like headstrong right toward the Inquisitors, you're like, no, it ain't gonna happen. So Kanan probably saved his fucking life.
Yes.
Absolutely. But then the rebellion fleet is trying to like get off world as quickly as possible. They realize they got to get the fuck out of there. Ezra, Kanan, and Chopper get off in the Phantom, and then Hera and the Ghost are trying to like hit that tractor beam on the Star Destroyer, which has Rex and Sato's command ship locked. And so they eventually do that and are able to all make the jump. And at that point, Ezra and Kanan go by his old place. This is when the place is burnt to the ground. They go by his parents' old place, and it's just destroyed. And they see the white Lothcat show up, and that's when they chase after him. This guy jumps on a speeder with this guy, and he speeds off. And they go after him in the Phantom, track him down, and then they're taking shots from this dude who's like with sniper shots from this guy. Like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, he's like, you're on my lawn, bro. Don't be coming into my territory. Yeah. But we get the reveal of like who that is. Like, I don't know. Ezra kind of gives him the, hey, we're on your side. We need to talk to you. You're prisoner X10, right? You knew my parents.
Yeah.
Miriam and what is his parents' name? Miriam and Ephraim.
Yes.
Ephraim Bridger. Yeah. And the old mysterious man with the white hair and the rice paddy hat happens to be Ryder Azadi.
One of my favorite names in the series.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love that name. It's pretty sweet.
He was the ex-governor of Lothal, taken into custody by the Empire.
A big supporter of Ezra's parents and their podcast. I believe he was the first to subscribe and rate and review.
He won the Darksaber in their season 1.
But yeah, he basically explains how Ezra's parents were inspired by Ezra's message that he sent out in season 1. They actually heard that, and that was kind of part of the reason for trying to organize this prison break. He takes the news really hard, and this is another moment where you're like, kind of like, oh, like it's kind of sad because he's, basically ruining the fact that his parents had been lost, and Kanan gives him the whole, they're still going to live within you, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. That's kind of the end of it.
Life doesn't cease at death; it just changes form in the Force, and your parents will always be with you.
There you go.
That's what he says, right?
Ryder Azadi, voiced by Clancy Brown, the guy who played Berg or whatever in the Mandalorian prison ship episode.
The big devil-looking thing.
Shawshank Prison Guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. I was more on the camp of Ezra. Your parents were just doing their time. They were institutionalized. They were doing, quiet model prisoners. And then they heard your podcast, your little message.
You killed your parents?
You riled them up. You killed your parents.
They would be alive today if you did not send that message out.
You riled them up.
You ruined it.
You, fomented the insurrection?
But that kind of leads us at the halfway point of the season. So yeah, it's. I know you guys have already gone beyond this, so I'm excited to get into the second half of the season because it just, again, it picks up even more and it ends with just a really fantastic finale. So I'm excited to get to that.
Me too. You keep talking about it, and I don't think I've seen it. I have an idea what happens.
It's awesome.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Speculate.
I've seen it before.
Oh, okay, then never mind.
Ahsoka fights Vader.
Princess on Lothal is what's coming up, episode 12.
Yeah, we see a little fucking cocky Leia. Mm-hmm.
You said it.
That's what I said.
Should we go to the Maul Bag?
Let's do it.
Hello there.
You've got mail.
Kenobi!
I know. All right. Email number 1 is from Chris Meyer.
Fucking gets me every time.
Chris Meyer of Hourliner Notes and How Was Your Week, Honey? The Rebels storylines are some of the best I've seen and set in what is my favorite era of Star Wars. That said, I would love to see some live-action films set in this time of the early days of the rebellion, but I'm not sure if I'd like to see an adaptation of Rebels, a parallel storyline with new characters, or maybe even pick up where Rebels ends. What do you guys think? I agree. I think the only thing is, and when I first read this, I didn't see films. I was just thinking live action anything, and I was like, well, that's what we're going to get with Andor.
And Kenobi.
Yeah. And so I mean, I think you're going to get a lot of these characters that we've seen in Rebels. You're going to obviously we've gotten Ahsoka already. You're allegedly going to get Sabine, Ezra, Thrawn, maybe Hera, maybe Enfys Nest from Rogue One or Solo, which I think would be cool. Fen Rao has been the rumor now with that's coming as well for that series, which for Andor.
Yeah, Lando as well.
Could we get some Ketsu Ono as well?
Remind me who that is.
That's the gal that's the blood sister.
Blood sister for.
Oh,
Sabine.
okay, all right.
Yeah, so I don't know about movie stuff. I'm sure that could come around eventually too, but I think series-wise, you're going to get a lot of these characters in live action.
Mm-hmm.
So
it sounds like the movies are going to keep going forward.
Yeah, probably.
And then what Disney Plus is playing with is, filling in the holes.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Chris. Email number 2 from Tom at the Clonecast. Can we get a breakdown of the neighbor Cole hatred of Mike Laybourne? He seems like a nice fella. How much time do you got, Tom?
Under the advice of legal counsel, I'm not allowed to answer this
It
question.
started with the email where he compared you to the C-3PO, right?
Yes, that's where I remember it turning.
Yep.
Where Cole went from a friendly banter to,
Right.
what the fuck did you just call me?
They spiked that was the root cause analysis right there. The C-3PO comment.
I think that led to the quote about Mike, I hope you get stabbed by the Darksaber. I think
Yes, I think it was.
all came together.
Failed.
Impaled by the Darksaber.
Impaled by the Darksaber. Yeah. Deep down, there's some respect there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the heel on everyone's podcast. That guy's just the worst, as Matt likes to say.
That's it for Maul Bag. If you want to send us your emails, please send them to facpapod@gmail.com. We love to get your emails.
Yeah, we do. We want a full Maul Bag next week.
Okay, nice and full sack.
Yeah.
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 Bulgy. Veiny.
FACPAtoid?
Yeah, the FACPAtoid this week. So I stumbled across this on just a social media meme, and I did a little research on it. Ewan McGregor has a brother, Colin McGregor, not Conor McGregor, is what you're thinking, and who is a pilot in the Royal Air Force, and the aviator has the nickname of Obi-2.
How'd he not, though, right?
I feel like he has to,
Yeah.
right? Like, wouldn't you if your brother was Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I was just looking at this, and anyone can put words on a picture and call it a meme and say it's factual. So I went to Snopes and I did a little backstory. This one is unproven, so it's indeterminate.
Does he have a brother?
He has a brother.
Okay.
Ewan truly does have a brother named Colin, and Colin was truly a pilot in the Royal Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
However, we have not been able to find any evidence to support the claim that Colin used the call sign Obi-2 in any official capacity while serving in the Royal Air Force. In fact, it appears that this rumor started as a punny joke before it was mistaken for a genuine factoid. They spelled FACPAtoid wrong.
They did.
About the actor and his brother. And then they said the earliest posting of this joke we could find was in 2013 by Kevin Rubio, a filmmaker known for making Star Wars parodies. From there, it was shared to the Aviation Humor website. So they do a piece of evidence. They say it was a BBC program titled The Battle of Britain, which featured both Colin and Ewan discussing the history of the Royal Air Force, Colin's experience as a pilot, and of course the various British pilots that fought during World War II. They do, however, make no mention of Obi-2.
Okay. So he most likely is not true.
But in our minds and in our hearts, I
think
feel
so.
like
I think we can
yeah.
believe it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
In
so.
fact, I think we're gonna stamp this with 100% true.
not fake
Not
news.
60.
That's a FACPA guarantee.
Yeah. We need like a sound effect.
Yep.
Thump, like a stamp.
So many drops to create in the next couple weeks.
100% pure D grade beef, whatever you call it. USDA approved.
All right, that's it. That's our show. So we're going to see you next week with more of us three giving you more Star Wars information. So thank you so much for listening. And until next time.
Never tell us the odds.
In our experience, there's no such thing as luck.
And finally, we have spoken.